Hello, I'm Jeroen from Emerhub, and today we're going to meet Jeroen and Clare, who have built the surf hotel Swell in Bingin, Bali. Come on in.
Well, my background is in IT and consulting in Amsterdam and London in almost 20 years ago, and then I started a online travel agency for surfers around 2000, and that gave me the opportunity to quit my corporate lifestyle, and somehow I ended up in the Dominican Republic, where I then initially went for 2 weeks and ended up living for 10 years, and that's also where I met Clare and where we then started our hotel.
And my background is in property, quite by accident actually. My ex-husband before and I were due to buy a very nice shiny new house, and instead of buying that one we ended up buying a dilapidated house, renovated it, and that was the start of my journey. And 20 houses later, pretty much, either building or renovating, I ended up going to the Dominican Republic for a break, and that's where I met Jimmy. We left the Dominican Republic in the search for a second location because we knew we had a successful product hotel in the DR, and many of our clients would constantly ask us, like, where can we find another place like this? So we were on a search, but we couldn't really find it. We didn't find it in Costa Rica, we didn't find it in Mexico.
I went to Bali 25 years ago and loved it then, and people had said, oh, well, Bali's gotten busy and you know, it's not quite how it used to be anymore. So I went back to Bali, and yes, it had gotten a bit more busy, but it still had that original charm with the Bali locals that are friendly, the stunning scenery, the surf is still great, the climate is still great. So then I convinced Clare to come over, and she also loved Bali, and that's when we decided that Bali was going to be the next place. Well, initially it was a lot of looking on internet forums and message boards and Facebook groups about the legal tax implications, and that was a bit of a minefield because we seemed to get a different answer from different expats about legal structures, taxes, company formation, and there were several times where we wanted to pull the plug because there was so much different information out there that we couldn't decide whether this was something we were comfortable with.
Especially with you know, leasehold property, because I was used to freehold. And for me, when I first came to Bali, I said to Jim, I'm not interested in leasehold property. This is, you know, completely alien to me. I was really scared of it. And then because we got, you know, yourselves involved in the process and learned that actually there's nothing to be scared of as long as you go into it, you know, with the right information, then actually it's a pretty secure thing to do. So yeah, I think research definitely with legal implications using a professional cannot be overestimated how important that is. My assumption was that we would have a lot of young surfers coming to stay with us, you know, a whole bunch of 18 to 20-year-olds turning up, and actually that was completely wrong, because we had created a place that actually appealed to older people who, because our place is all about socializing, but in a more upmarket way than a hostel, for example, that we were appealing to, you know, 35-year-olds, 40-year-olds who would otherwise be traveling by themselves. And that was a surprise for me.
Yeah, the average age, we thought it was 22, and it turned out to be 40. Not that it matters, but it does kind of mean you've got to adapt in your marketing to a different age group. We try to keep it as simple as possible, and now in the last few years we've tried to do everything in the cloud, because we've had so many broken hard drives that then data is erased and lost. And now with the internet being good, stable everywhere around the world, we use HubSpot, Google Suite for Business, our Servoy, our hotel PMS, but we try to do as much in the cloud as possible to have everything backed up.
Everybody was moaning and crying about the financial crisis, and everybody was basically just saying, we haven't got any business because of this. But you can't do that. You can't just sit back and say, COVID, so we don't do anything. We're just going to sit on our backsides and go surfing for the next year. We've spent the last year just looking at how we can continue to improve maintaining this building, because in a tropical climate you need to constantly maintain something, how to continue with our marketing, how to reach more clients. So I think we've overcome it really well. We're now through the worst of it, even though Bali's still closed. I think just advice for people really would be, always expect the unexpected in a business, because we'd actually just built this using up most of our money because we expected a high season in our other place to continue to bring money in, and suddenly it didn't. So my advice would be to anybody starting a business, make sure that you've got a real good contingency fund.
There's always going to be unexpected things, whether it's in the Dominican Republic, it's hurricanes, over here it could be earthquakes or volcanoes. That is going to happen sooner or later, and you got to have a plan for those kind of things and get through it. Every place is different. I think what we really try to do, as we said earlier, is be as transparent and as open as possible about what we offer, what our place is all about, and what we are not, so people can make a good decision. You need to make up your own mind. We're not here to convince. I think we take the photos that are on the website, I think, are a good presentation of what our place is about. The text says clearly what is and isn't included. The client needs to make that decision. If we have to start convincing and doing a hard sale, then you start promising stuff that you might not be able to deliver on, and that's why we don't. I think it's Clare is almost like the anti-salesperson by saying, look, if that's where you're coming, don't come with us. If you want me to promise stuff that we got, don't come. I think people need to do their research, get to know where they lack expertise, hire good lawyers, good advice, so that legally it's all done correctly.
If you're going to come to somewhere like Bali, which has so much culture and so much tradition, I would say it's not just about the business, but that side of it should be part of your consideration, is to get to know the people. We're really lucky to be in an incredible village like Bingin, and so we immerse ourselves into that village. We learn the language. My Indonesian is definitely not perfect, but it's decent and it gets better every day. I think to get the best out of your place, out of your business, learning the language and immersing yourselves with the local people is really important.
I would also say don't rush. If it's a good business idea now, it'll still be a good business idea in a year from now, but at least in that year you can get advice from other people, run your ideas by friends, family or consultants to see where it might have some problems. And if it's still good, then go for it.
Many people don't get the right advice. They try to cut costs where really that particular cutting cost is going to really bite you in the long term. So paying for good advice, getting the right experts on your side will save you so much money and so much heartache in the end, that's probably the strongest bit of advice, especially in a place that does have a lot of regulations, does have a lot of tax implications.